Greg back in the house, Concord Food Co-op. How are you?
Splendid.
You looking good?
I thank you.
You guzzled your water already?
Oh, I've that was one of the biggest tips I learned from this show, that your half your body weight in ounces of water every day. Yeah. So, and I just find that I think my joints were hurting because I was dehydrated all the time. So,
you know what? My wife actually got a water bottle that has, instead of ounces on it, it has the time. So that you can take the water bottle for the day. Got to drink this much by noon, this much by 3 o'clock. Wow. Well, it's just whatever's going to help somebody remember to keep drinking your water.
But no, you're right. With the weather, I've been spending a ton of time outside guzzling like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
Because I've done it the other way, and when you don't, it's like, whoa, get a little woozy, and it's like, oh, this isn't good. So that's good. Now, do you drink just straight water, or do you put lime and
flavor
stuff?
Just straight water. I just go for the shortcut, right for the water.
Mm-hmm. Take it straight.
Yeah.
All right. No chaser. That's good. So what are we doing today?
Well, it was, I thought your lead-in song was really a tie-in to the topic today is focusing on aging well, and one of the parts that I thought about this is the psychological aspects of aging well. And sometimes I think, we have to be our own best friend or friend to get ourselves through that process. I think we're very rough on ourselves as we age and evaluate how our bodies have changed. So I thought that was what your song was about. I need a friend, and the friend is ourselves sometimes. But
that's awesome.
That's very deep.
That's
deep.
Good.
No, that's good.
Wicked
deep. I like that.
Well, I thought that's what where you were going with it. I'm always trying to figure out.
No,
all
right. That was just the version of saying, "I know a guy."
Yeah, I know. That was way too deep for Peter.
Yeah,
Greg.
but I'm very interested to hear from our guest today, and the subject again is focusing on aging well, and I think a lot of times we think of aging well is you start looking at that process when you're 60 or something, when you start to approach your senior years or whatever. But the first question I would have of Dr. Herring and Dr. Otto is, when do you start to look at aging and aging well? It just seems like you can create a lot of damage to your body early in life. So when do you start the process?
For me, it'd be like 25. But, okay. Dr. Herring is with us. Hey, Pam, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you.
Good. Licensed naturopathic doctor specializing in classical homeopathy and functional medicine. Has had an office in Concord for 30 years, instrumental in the process of licensing of naturopaths as primary care doctors in New Hampshire back in 1995, way back in 95. Dr. Herring can be reached at drpamelaherring@gmail.com, or you can call 491-7321. So the question before us, Pam, when do you start thinking about getting old and dealing with it and doing something about it?
Oh, it's never too early. Conception, I would say. Really, diet and nutrition are key for everything from, birth on, from, preferentially breastfeeding or, certainly supplying a good, healthy source for babies, but right on up through every age. And most people don't start thinking about it till they hit the big 3-0 or the big 4-0, or even sometimes not till the big 5-0, but that's really, really late. So diet and nutrition isn't something that you can, that overnight is going to correct everything. So It needs to be started early.
Right. So you can't just change up. Yeah. You can't just change up at 50 and start eating well. Right.
Well, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. But
better late than never.
Right.
But I mean, this is like we've had financial people come in and say, if you're going to retire at 65, you don't start saving at 62. You got to start doing it at 30, 25, and it's like,
exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so that's...
Exactly.
All right.
Yep.
And
diet, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and as you said, the mental aspects, the positive attitude is everything. But those are key. They're just basic, key, fundamental things that we need to pay attention to early on. And teach our children about positive attitudes, not
right,
be,
and then pass that
berating
along.
themselves all the time and, down on themselves. Just, keep a positive outlook.
Absolutely. Paging Dr. Otto. Dr. Otto. Oh, there she is.
I'm here.
There you go. Dr. Otto.
Hi, Dr. Otto.
Hi. A naturopathic doctor and certified functional medicine practitioner. She's located at Whole Earth Concord, North State Street in Concord. She specializes
I moved.
Oh. All right, well, we'll be updating.
My producer.
So where you? That's okay.
In trouble. Okay, where'd you move to?
We're on Broadway now in Concord, where the ice cream shop used to be.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, at the new place, she's still doing the stuff that she did at the old place, which is getting to the root cause of illnesses and reducing dependency on medications and surgery. Yay. You can contact her through her website at naturalmedicinenh.com. And so, same question. When do you start getting old and getting ready for it?
When do you start getting old? That's not the question.
Yeah.
It depends on what age you are, right? It's always in the future.
Well, however, you got to admit, there are some people at 40 that look a lot older than they need to look.
Oh, my God. There are guys, I know guys at 40 that were 65 when they were 40.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you mean emotionally or physically?
Well,
both,
kind of, I think
both.
A little bit of it showed on the outside.
Yeah. No, I just know people that were born old. Yeah, I mean, they're just that way. And my Pat and I were kidding that my chronological age and my mental age are not together. And I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with
I like it that way.
Well, I agree with you. And actually on the physical point, whenever anyone asks about, whenever a patient asks about this concept of aging or anti-aging or, what does environment really have to do with that process, I always say, think about the president in over an 8-year term.
Great
Remember what they
analogy.
looked like before, what they look like afterwards. And no offense to Barack Obama, but I feel like he's a really good example of someone who was very youthful going in.
Did you see him yesterday?
With the gray hair?
He's looking like an elder citizen now.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think of Barack Obama as an elder citizen.
I know.
No, he's had a pretty good attitude about it. He's made some jokes himself about it. But I think, I've always seen that as being a good kind of indication of how much your environment can dictate, the way that you age. Because we all obviously are going to age, that's inevitable, but what we don't often realize is how much control we have over how fast or slow that aging process occurs. And as Dr. Herring said, diet, nutrition is paramount, and as well as that psychological piece. And I think right now, with everything that's going on, I think it's important to remember the impact that stress, in particular chronic stress, has on aging and how much faster we age when we're under a lot of stress.
Well, when you talk about environmental issues, you talk about stress and diet. What part of the aging process is dietary concerns? 50, 75, 80?
Well, I would echo Dr. Herring's opinion there, which is probably starts at conception and during infancy. But any time, the earlier that you intervene, it's kind of like, if we're going to go back to that analogy of retirement, the benefit of compounded interest over time.
Right,
if you start earlier, you get all of those gains compounded each year. If you start late, then you're basically having to you have to put so much more effort in order to get hopefully 75% of those gains. But the difference, the intensity of that investment is so much greater, the requirement is so much greater if you wait longer and longer to intervene. Mm-hmm. There's some simple things that you can do that will improve your aging experience, and some of them are really, how many times have you heard, you really can't, you've got to stop smoking, avoid alcohol at excess, things that add a lot of extra stress to your body. That's toxic chemicals that your body has to work very, very hard to overcome and tend to kind of smoke up your internal factories.
There goes my weekend. Okay, great.
But you're to inspire.
Just kidding, Pam. No.
But you do kind of have to do this if you want to make an analogy of when you buy a vehicle. If you want to keep that vehicle for life, then you take care of it throughout. You don't wait
Yeah.
until, you're done with the payments and the warranty is going to run out and then everything starts crapping out.
Every 3,000 miles or 5,000 miles.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
You've got to, and so if you're bothering to take care of your car like that, you got to kind of consider your body. You want in for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. The car analogy is a great one too.
One other important component is your genetic makeup, which doesn't necessarily have to get expressed. Genes that could lead to certain illnesses, they can lie dormant forever.
Right.
But if we have an unhealthy lifestyle and diet and so on, then they start becoming expressed. So we have some control over even our genetic makeup.
Now, I'll be curious. Can I ask you? I'm sorry. Did you want to jump in?
No, you ask your question, then I do have a question.
Well, no, I'm curious. I don't know if there's a definitive answer to this, but I want to give both of you a chance to air this out. We did the shelter in place, the quarantine thing, starting back in March, and it's still kind of going on. More people working from home now. Are people eating better during this? They've been home. So usually, one of the cases, we don't have time. Well, you do have time now. You're home. So are they, do you get the sense that people are eating healthier and eating better now? I'm looking for some positive out of this pandemic. Could that be one of them?
I have seen it be almost 50-50, and it really is dependent on that person's particular their life event experience through this and the stress associated with that.
Right.
So about 50% of people actually, like you said, have the opportunity to have made a lot of new positive changes, both with their exercise habits, because they're able to get up and move around and take a break and go do a little exercise routine, as well as having more time to prep their meals and having more control over what they eat, not being tempted by the office donuts. But the other 50% of people who potentially have been facing some very unfortunate, life circumstance events that have created a lot of stress, they're still having that stress reaction, which is I'm craving comfort foods and I'm passing by my refrigerator a lot more. And that's sort of a secondary thing that needs to be worked on. It's ultimately coming back to the stress.
Right.
But the environment otherwise should be really conducive to making healthy habits.
And this particular stress has been tough because it doesn't let up, right? Or it hasn't let up in these past few months. And there's a lot of people suffering with the quarantine 15 that have put a little extra weight on just because they're eating all the time.
Makes sense.
So, aging well, I think a lot of times we judge how well we are aging, obviously, by our physical appearance. And to what degree...
You're looking good, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you. So to what degree are we doing better? When I was growing up, people just baked in the sun hour after hour. No. That was the thing. Are we doing... and then later in life, you see, how the negative ramifications on your skin. But as a country, are we doing better at not spending so much time baking in the sun?
Alligator luggage by the time they're 60. Yeah, I know.
I think now we're having the opposite problem, right? Dr. Herring, would you agree we're probably spending not enough time in the sun? We've sort of hyper-corrected for it. How would you weigh in on that?
In the sun this year, really. It's
been a pretty oppressive so far this summer, I have to say.
Right, because you do get a little vitamin D. From
I want
the sun.
that vitamin
A little bit
D.
of sun is good.
Well, you get a lot of vitamin D.
Yeah.
You get out there, a day at the beach on the water, get outside, you're getting that. Yeah.
Remember, and particularly in the COVID pandemic, that vitamin D levels are really important. They serve as a bit of a risk factor, a gauge for your risk of developing severe symptoms from the disease. So if your vitamin D levels are low, that puts you at increased risk.
Good point. All right. Well, tell you what, we have to take one quick break. Then we'll be back with more. So don't age much in the next 3 minutes. Okay, hang on.
While we're gone.
We'll be back with more right after this. Concord Food Co-op. Greg's in the house. Before we do anything else, got to ask, the big barbecue coming up. How's that going?
Oh, it's going great.
Excellent.
A week from Sunday.
A week from Sunday, the Bluegrass BBQ for the benefit of the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness. Tickets still available at concordhomeless.org.
They're still available? I thought they'd be sold out by now.
Yeah, we're about halfway there.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, in this past week, we went up to Twin Barns Brewery on Tuesday. A group of us went up.
My very own Meredith.
And we put all the rub on the pork. The pork went on the smoker. Bill Wilcox was up all night. The following morning, 6 a.m., there's 4 of us up there. 5 hours shredding pork and
packaging. You were like a little kid Christmas Eve when you're talking about this.
Well, it was a massive. Now that's because his grill, which is his smoker is 25 feet long, but the brisket alone, come Sunday, is going to be covering his entire grill surface. So massive meal, great price, great.
And safe. It's takeout. There's plenty of room at the park.
Yeah, plenty of room. We have 4 great bands, bluegrass bands, playing.
That's awesome.
But we're going to keep everybody socially distanced. So yes, either enjoy your meal there or take it with you. And again, concordhomeless.org.
$70 a couple.
70 a couple.
Okay.
We now have a single ticket for just pork sandwiches. So we had enough requests for individuals that wanted a single ticket.
Awesome.
So that's out there too.
All right,
Super.
but still, $70. You are not going to leave hungry.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's brisket and pulled pork and sausage and cowboy beans and coleslaw and rolls and.
The meat and the sides. I mean, the whole complete package.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds wonderful. And you're doing a good thing.
All right. In the time we have left, which is about 4.5 minutes, Dr. Herring, Dr. Otto, I'm going to bounce it back to you because you are poster children for aging well, both of you.
Glad you put the well word in there. Thank you for that.
No, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
So give me tips. Give people tips. Yes, we all want to do it. We all know what we should do, but sometimes we need some sort of reaffirmation that, yes, we need to do it and it's the right thing to do. Dr. Herring, how do we age well?
Well, I think a big part of it you mentioned right off the bat was a positive attitude. And I think along with that, studies show that a sense of purpose is really key to aging well. Having a sense of purpose, a sense of serving others, love of humanity, ability to forgive and forget. I mean, these are all some of the characteristics of people that you see who are, living into their 90s and 100. I've noticed that when they interview these people, they have these qualities, these characteristics, and the people in these cultures where they lived well into their hundreds. I mean, they have these attributes.
No, that is true, and I've said it before on the air. My grandmother was 98, and I tried to get her to take the bus to go down to the senior center to see people, and she said, "Why?" I said, "Well, there are people there." She goes, "Yeah, but they're old people." You're 98 years old. But she didn't want to hang out with old people. And I marveled because that was her attitude.
Yeah.
And I went, God bless you. That's fabulous.
Yeah. The Concord Co-op's wellness educators, as a group, they do look much younger than their age. So they are doing something totally right and something to, you definitely listen to them. There was one individual, I said, I'd like you to do a commercial and represent, the millennials. And she said, Greg, I'm almost 50. And I was like, ooh.
Okay. Right. Okay, we're going to do this. Pretend you're talking to the millennials.
Yeah. All right. Dr. Otto.
That's great.
Dr. Otto, same thing. How do I age well, gracefully?
I think paying attention or considering changing how you manage your current health as issues arise is probably a good way to guarantee that you're going to age better. When something even small things are starting to malfunction in your body, to understand that as a message that something is off and asking, how can I correct this and who can help me correct this? Maybe redesigning your healthcare team a little bit to have an aging strategist, if you will, on board with you to understand when your body's sending you signals, this is when the car parts are breaking down, right? We want to pay attention to them and intervene prior to, we don't want to just slap a bunch of Band-Aids and duct tape on everything until the whole thing goes kaboom.
Yeah, because we've all seen that car.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen that car. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dr. Pamela Herring at gmail.com is how you can reach her, or 491-7321. Dr. Otto at naturalmedicinenh.com. Next time you're on, I promise I'll play On Broadway, just so we can get a cheap plug in for you. Greg for the Concord Food Co-op, concordfoodcoop.coop.
.coop. And eShop goes live on Monday.
Woo!
Yay!
We'll talk about that next week.
If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.